Hello everyone, it's Katie here from the Scrappy Sisters, and I am back today with a 12 by 12 layout for you using the March Kitaholic Kits. And I'm actually scrapping with 4 photos today. I've been really on a multiple photo layout kind of roll of late. I think it's because I'm taking more and more photos, probably because I have a nephew now, and I don't know, it's just easy to take photos of kids. I don't have children of my own, and so I don't take a lot of photos during the week unless we've got, you know, a particular event on or something. But I do feel like with kids, I don't know, it's just, is it more socially acceptable to take photos of kids? Is it just easy to take photos of kids while they're doing cute things? I don't know, but I take way more photos of my nephew now than, you know, before he was born. And yeah, so in fairness, I'm in these photos, so obviously I didn't take them, but my sister did. We were just hanging out, and my nephew was climbing all over me, and my sister snapped a whole series of photos, and I didn't want to, I wanted to scrap all of them, but at the same time they're all the same photo. They're just variations on a theme, which is why I've kept them all together. And they do tell a bit of a story. I was cacking myself laughing while my nephew was trying to sit on my head. And yeah, it was just really funny, and I wanted to remember it. Having said that, I'm actually creating this layout for my sister's album because I already scrapped a similar photo for my own album, and I wanted to use these photos again. So I asked my sister if she would like a 12 by 12 layout for her album, and she said yes. So I'm scrapping this with the intention of giving it to her, because as you well know, if you watch my channel, I'm scrapping 9 by 12 this year, and my sister is still doing 12 by 12, so yeah, I'm scrapping this for her. I'm also using a sketch that's up on the Kitaholic Kits members page. Every month there's a sketch for members to you know, use for inspiration, and that is what I'm using for this. This took me ages, actually, this layout. The raw footage was well over an hour long, and it's unusual for me. It doesn't normally take me that long to do a layout, but this was part of the reason, because I was faffing around trying to work out which way I wanted these triangles to go. I eventually get it how I like it, which I believe is like this. No, almost. It just took me forever. So there we go. That is what I go with. I don't make you watch me stick it down, since I made you watch me go backwards and forwards trying to figure out which pattern paper I wanted. So now I'm just cutting my photos down so that they're square. I'm pretty sure I made them 3 by 3. And I don't know why I did that. I just preferred the look of it on a whim, and then cut them down. And then I am going to back the photos on some pattern paper, and I do use different pattern paper for each. And I wanted to keep this in just because you'll see me piece together the, you know, other sides of the triangles that I used on the corners, or the bottom and the top of the page. I then, you know, didn't want to waste that paper, so I actually just pieced it together to create a matting for the photo. Because you don't see much of it, you really couldn't tell that it wasn't, you know, one continuous piece of paper. So that was just a tip for anyone else who's trying to use up all the little scraps, you know, in their kits or just of their own stash. You know, you can piece together pattern paper like that, and because so little of it was peeking out the side, you really can't tell that it's matted and it's pieced together like that. I also matte one on some vellum that came in the kits this month, and yeah, just kind of wanted to give the photos something to kind of help make them pop out on the page. I did go with black and white photos because there's a lot of colour going on in these kits, and because I had 4 photos, even though obviously we're wearing the same clothes, I just felt like it might have been a bit much, so I did go with black and white. Just showing my drink bottle to remind everyone, stay hydrated. It's very important. It's quite warm in Australia still at the moment, which is unusual at this time of the year, and my scrap room is upstairs, and I do have air conditioning, but it's quite old air conditioning machine. It's expensive to run, but also I can't change the direction of the airflow, and it blows straight onto my desk, and it kind of blows paper everywhere. So I don't really use it that often unless it is really hot up here. So I'm just creating kind of a few layers of paper to sit the photos on top of, I suppose. And I do stick with this concept. I thought I might use something from the cut apart sheets, but I decided not to, and I just go with what you can see here. So I'm going to go through and stick all of it down. Because you can't see much of the vellum, I have absolutely no issue about putting double-sided tape on the back of vellum, and I cover it up anyway. So I stick the vellum down first, and then I just for those of you who know me, you know I'm not that bothered about, you know, being symmetrical or my placement. I just kind of go for it. So I rarely will measure things, and I just stick it down roughly where I think it's going to go, and that's what I do with this pattern paper. So you can see me here just sticking those layers down so that they are, you know, so that they're overlapping, but you can still make out all of the different patterns. And this is just, I mean, this was in the sketch, but also just to give me something to kind of anchor those photos on when I place them. And it takes me a while to figure out how I want the photos to look, which I'd already done. And I ended up deciding that I wanted 2 of my head facing down and 2 of my head facing up, so that they kind of look a bit symmetrical. And I pop some of them up on foam dots, the ones where my head is at the top of the page. See, made a mistake. Made a mistake, which I do notice, and I do flip it around in a minute. There I go. Realised, ooh, silly Katie, made a mistake. Again, don't measure these. Pop them down where they sort of go. And even though the 2 pieces of paper at the top and the bottom are kind of on a diagonal, I do put these photos straight. I just like the look of it. I do pull some twine from my stash. The sketch did have a bit of string in it, and I did actually quite like that, and I thought, oh, I've got heaps of twine in my stash, let's pull some out. So I just put a little bit of twine in sort of the top left there of the photos. And then it takes me a while, and I do cut out quite a bit of footage here, but it takes me a while to figure out exactly how I want all of these embellishments to look. So I skipped that and I go on to my title, because I kind of was like, I can't do the embellishments now, I want to do my title. I was running very low on the thickers that came in the kit, and there wasn't a lot I could do with them, but I could spell out my name, which is Katie, and aunt. I couldn't write auntie because I had no Y, but I could spell aunt. And then I decided I wanted the title to be Playtime with Aunt Katie. And I was hoping that I would have enough letters on these 2 sticker or alpha sheets that came in the kit as well, but I actually don't. I didn't have enough to spell out Playtime with. Even with kind of doctoring some of the letters, I still couldn't make it work. So I move and grab some thickers from my stash, and I go with these blue ones to spell out Playtime. Me flipping backwards and forwards is again just making sure I had enough of the right letters to spell out that title. And then this does take me a while. I probably could have edited this out. You know, everyone's seen people stick thickers on a page before, but I do have to move it around a bit to make it fit. I mean, it fits, but to make it fit so it doesn't go, they don't go over the photo too much. And I did start too low. I should have, but anyway, rookie mistake, hey, rookie mistake. And for those of you that know some thickers, like once you stick them on a photo, they just, you know, they don't come up, or they leave this yucky residue. These ones were okay to pull up, so that was alright. And it was only that Y that was really stuck onto the photo itself, and it pulled up fine. But some of them, it's like once you stick them down, that's it. You can't move them. And then I pull out these letter stickers, which are just from Kaiser Craft, to spell out the with, Playtime with Aunt Katie. It took me a while to figure out where I wanted the with, but I figured that if I didn't put it on the white card over there on the top right, you actually wouldn't see it because it would just fade into the background a bit too much. So yeah, I stuck it there, Playtime with Aunt Katie, and I'm happy with that title, and I'm happy with the different coloured thickers. And now as I go into the kit to find out what kind of embellishments I want, I don't have a lot left. This was one of the later layouts that I created. In fact, it was one of the sort of last layouts that I created. And so I just sort of went through and pulled out the different bits that I had left. I knew I didn't want too much in the way of embellishments because, you know, there's a lot of pattern paper going on, there's a lot of photos on the page, and I didn't want to take away too much from that. So I do end up kind of creating 3 little clusters. One is where that peg just is going there and the twine. and then I create one on the right and then one sort of near the word aren't. So that's kind of all I have left in the embellishment stakes. So I just pulled that out, and I'm thinking about creating a cluster in the top left, and it would have worked, but it doesn't end up staying. And so I'm just laying out things around the place. Again, I don't always do this. I sometimes just stick and sort of go for it, but because I was running really low on stuff, I wanted to lay things out a bit before I stuck anything down and committed anything, because, you know, there's not much left, and I just wanted to make sure that it all worked. So you can see there, I love some of the words that came in the ephemera pack. So I think I've got happy, so lovely, and cute. And up the top there's one that says yay, and I don't know what that other word is. Sorry, I can't read that from here. And I do decide that I'm going to go with the arrows, the bit of the arrow theme that I had going on there near the word aren't. So I start to stick those down. I do use my Tombow glue, and sorry, I've just gone off camera because my glue was stuck. I had to get a pin to unclog it. I hate it when you're doing a layout and you're trying to use your Tombow glue and it just spurts out everywhere. Yep, that happened to me. Happens to me all the time. I'm a bit silly like that. I forget that I need to unclog it sometimes every time I use it. So I just had to cut a little bit off one of those foam dots because I wanted to pop up the sort of tail end of that arrow. So I stick that down, and then I'm just figuring out, you know, how else I want these arrows. I've got 3 of them. One came from the sticker sheet and then 2 from the ephemera packs, and just figuring out how I want those to sit on the page. Remembering that I'm going to put the so lovely on top. So yeah, just grabbing a little foam dot to pop up the head of the arrow there. So I've stuck those down, and I add so lovely with a little bit of Tombow glue as well. Or no, I don't. I use double-sided tape. So there we go. Now I'm working on this cluster near the word play, where I've got the little peg. Just sticking down a couple of the ephemera pieces, going with the heart theme, and then using the little banner word happy. Sticking that down. And then I work on the cluster near the word with. So yeah, I've got my 3 clusters around my photos, and the cluster near the word with is pretty simple. I've just used a big heart, which I've tucked under the photo, a smaller heart, and then the word cute. And sticking those down. My preference is to use double-sided tape. I know some people prefer to use wet glue, like glossy accents or the Tombow glue, but yeah, I just prefer to use the double-sided tape. So I did take away that cluster from the top right. I didn't like it, so I took it out. Just clearing up my workspace so I can show you some close-ups, and I'm going to slow the video down a bit now so you can see the close-ups. So here I am, I've finished the layout, and I'm just about to show you some close-ups, and then I realised that, oops, I haven't trimmed that layout, that little love heart. So I do come back and trim it in a second before I finish. But I'm just showing you these close-ups. I really love those stickers. Oh, those stickers are lovely. I think I should try and find some more if I can. So yeah, I'm just going to trim that off for you. Well, not for you, but for me, so it will fit in my page protector. And then the layout is done. I hope you've enjoyed this video and this layout. I'm loving using multiple photos. As I said, I think it's a really good way to include, you know, all of your memories. We will see you guys in the next video. Bye!